Many times in my personal history of gaming, there's always been that one game that's known as the system purchaser. This is usually a game that single-handedly drives you into buying a game system, when all previous games didn't really interest you. For the PS1, it was Castlevania Symphony of the Night. PlayStation 2, Final Fantasy X. Fast forward to 2007, and a year after the Wii's release, Super Mario Galaxy became the system purchaser for Nintendo's 7th gen console. For the most part, Mario and company have only seen 3 major 3D titles. These are Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. Yes, I know there's Super Mario Galaxy 2, but let's keep it in 2007 for now. This does not include spin-offs, portable games, inclusions, or anything else. I've never played Super Mario Sunshine, nor do I ever plan to play it. But Super Mario Galaxy is something of a different beast. Let's get right into the shit. Super Mario Galaxy was released on the Nintendo Wii in November of 2007 to incredible hype. It had first debuted a year earlier at E3 2006, so naturally many Mario fans had been waiting a while to scoop this gem up as soon as it dropped into stores. The storyline is simple, as is always the case with many Super Mario games. Who gives a shit about the story anyway? Isn't really like the same thing happening in almost every game? Anyways, you start the game during what's known as the Star Festival, held on the Mushroom Kingdom, which is its own planet now, I guess, every 100 years. Bowser just happens to show up during this, what looks like to be a super fun carnival with lots of toads and games, and basically begins to wreak havoc. A giant spaceship shows up out of nowhere and is able to pick up Princess Toadstool's entire castle, foundation and all, with giant hooks, and takes off with it. Never mind that lifting an object of this size with simple chains and hooks would most likely result in the entire structure, as well as the land it's sitting on, crumble and fall apart because of gravity. But, as we'll come to see, gravity in the universe of the Mushroom Kingdom doesn't quite behave as it should. Mario gets thrown from said floating celestial island and wakes up on a small planet with this chick Rosalina hanging out. She informs him that she runs the observatory, a rather large floating space station, I guess, with no walls, force fields, no real means of propulsion, nothing to hold the separate levels together, and just a large home world to have the rest of the game branch out from. She says that Bowser stole all of their power stars, which are needed to make this large floating thing work like it should. Thus, Mario sets out on a dual task: collect power stars and rescue Princess Toadstool. You begin at the aforementioned observatory and move around to hubs that are located throughout the ship. These include the terrace, kitchen, garden, bedroom, and the engine room. From these hubs, you'll travel to the actual galaxies and the levels contained within. From the hub room, you can rotate, move, and select which available galaxies you want to visit. You'll notice that some galaxies aren't as selectable from the onset, and that's because as you progress through the game, you have to complete more levels and collect power stars to open new galaxies. This is also how you unlock special, secret, or otherwise other galaxies that aren't immediately visible in said hubs, and is necessary if you want to collect all 120 power stars in the game. You blast off to each level and, from arriving, have a specific task to complete in order to finish the level. Be it collecting a certain amount of items, defeating a boss character, or even completing a race. Most of the time the requirements are not too difficult. However, as you progress further into the game, they obviously become harder. Some of the hardest levels I've found personally are the ones where you have to race your own shadow, because if you're already good at this game, these levels will make it even more difficult to win since you're racing against yourself. Coins return, as what kind of Mario game would this be without them? However, in this game, coins mainly give you your life points back, with which you're only given 3, but can be expanded via the life mushroom for an additional 3 units. The other main item you're going to be collecting shitloads of are star bits. These are colorful, gummy star-shaped bits that come from a variety of sources, and are collected mostly by waving your star cursor over them as they appear. These are used to feed hungry Lumas, stun enemies, or by collecting 50 you gain a 1-up. There have also been a few new additions in the Powerups division that Mario can pick up. These include turning into a bumblebee that can fly around for a short time and cling to honeycomb-shaped walls, turning into a boo ghost, allowing you to hover indefinitely as long as you keep pressing the A button, and to quickly turn invisible to dodge obstacles and pass through sections of levels with jail bars. The Ice Flower, which also appears in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, which functions just like the Fire Flower except with snowballs, and the addition of being able to create small ice platforms as you walk across open water. The Superstar, a series staple, returns, but it's also joined by the new Red Star, which lets you fly anywhere you want. The catch being that you can only use it pretty much on the observatory and not in any level. Lastly, probably my least favorite power-up in the game, the Spring, which encases Mario in a giant spring and lets you hop around and make large vertical jumps. I mainly dislike the spring because I find it hard sometimes to control just moving around on precarious platforms, or on conveyor belts as well, since sometimes you can mistime your jump and get screwed up or even dead. Now, when mentioning the hubs again, you'll notice that sometimes when you go to select a galaxy to travel to, you'll be alerted to a prankster comet in orbit around a certain galaxy. These give extra challenges to complete in order to earn even more power stars. Some include the Speedy Comet, giving you a time limit to complete the stage, Daredevil Comet, which only gives you 1 unit of energy, and the Fast Foe Comet, which speeds up all enemies and objects in the level. While the game contains 120 power stars in total, much like Super Mario 64 for instance, you don't need to collect all of them to complete the game. In fact, you only need 60 stars in order to face Bowser, as evidenced by the power star number amount remaining on the main dais of the observatory that Rosalina is standing on. Those other star shapes around the power star counter? Well, those are reserved for the Grand Stars. Dun da da da! Grand Stars are gained by defeating the end boss of each hub world, usually Bowser. These in turn, quote, power the observatory and allow new hub sections to open up as you progress. On the visual side of things, this game is a winner. From the unique environments including forests, undersea areas, spooky haunted areas, lava worlds, and even Desert World returns. While the game does run pretty smoothly most of the time in the graphical department, if you actually stop for a few minutes during any level in any galaxy and look around at the smaller details, you'll realize why this is possible. The backgrounds are very sparsely populated, if there's even anything there at all. A lot of the time, since most gamers focus on Mario, and the action going on right in front of them, you won't tend to notice that behind the current planet you're standing on, there's just flat, empty space with really nothing else to look at. The audio side is also really well done, with the score for this game really starting to become one of my favorites. Each track fits very nicely with the stage that's paired with it. The usual Mario sound effects return for the most part, so there's really nothing new on that frontier. Although I do find the screaming Luma sound before they transform to be hilarious. My personal favorites are probably the observatory theme and what I call the storytime theme. You make it to the end of the game, retrieve the final Grand Star, and all is well. was well for a little while. Unfortunately, the sun that Bowser creates goes supernova and creates a giant black hole. Our hero looks to be in great danger as it starts sucking him in. Will the Mario and the princess be crushed into oblivion? Nope, because just in the nick of time, all the Lumas show up, and by combining all their power, make the black hole collapse into singularity at this point. Okay, this is getting way too into theoretical physics for a Mario game. I think they actually create another Big Bang, which means that the present Mario Galaxy would have to implode into itself, then explode to form a new galaxy. How Mario or anyone else survives this is beyond me, but hey, it works. So after the giant Big Bang, the Mushroom Kingdom and all its inhabitants are back to normal. How convenient, eh? Why did they bring Bowser back? I mean, isn't he the main villain in this game? If they brought him back, don't they realize he's just gonna try and cause trouble again in the sequel? I mean, didn't this giant evil turtle just try to destroy the current galaxy and create his own galaxy? Overall, Super Mario Galaxy is a great addition to the Mario universe. And over the past couple years, the more I've played it, it's still enjoyable now, at the end of the Wii's life cycle. From the visuals to the gameplay, to the 3D platforming, everything works. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, go check it out.